Alright, Shalom, Israel. This brother Kazak Magun coming at y'all with another quick cold cut. Um, we finna break down this parable. You know, the parable of the vineyard, right? In Luke chapter 20. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. That's Yahweh, who the world inwardly calls God, and name of his son, Yahweh Shai, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ, right? So without further ado, we gonna hop into it. You know, it says, then he began to speak to the people this parable, right? It said, then he began to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard and let it forth to the husbandman, and went into a far country for a long time. So who is that vineyard? You know, that vineyard is the nation of Israel, right? We're gonna get a precept on that. We'll go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 5 and verse 7, right? It says, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. So it just tell you plain as day right there, you know, that the vineyard, you know, is the house of Israel, man. You know, all throughout the scriptures, you see us getting compared to trees. You see us getting compared to vineyards, to plants, and all that. Let's get another one. I believe it's Jeremiah chapter 2 and Salakia. Bear with me. This Jeremiah 2 and 21. Right? It says, Yet I planted thee a noble vine, holy a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? So, you know, like it said, you know, all throughout the scriptures, you see us getting compared to a vineyard or to a plant, right? So in Luke, you know, it's talking about the children of Israel. You know, we are that vineyard. Let's go back to it. Let's read verse 9 again. So it says, then began he to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard and led it forth to husbandmen, and he went into a far country for a long time. And that man is the Most High. You know, it's the Most High that planted the vineyard. You know. So verse 10, it says, and at the season he sent Salakia. It says, and at the season, oh Salakia, my bad. Going back to verse 9. It says, then began he to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard and led it forth to husbandmen. You know, who are those husbandmen? Those husbandmen are the so-called pastors and all of that. You know, the leaders, the so-called leaders that been leading our nation. You know, that been causing our people to go astray. Let me see if I can get a precept on that. We'll go to the book of, let's try Isaiah 9 and 16. It says Salakia. This is Isaiah 9 and 14. It says, therefore the Lord will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day. The ancient and honorable, he is the head, and the prophet that teach of lies, he is the tail. You know, so you got prophets out there that's teaching lies. You got so-called false leaders and sellouts and leaders that are just like ravening wolves and all that. They just looking for the coin. Those not the true shepherds, you know. But you know, right now, you know, those people is leading us, you know, because we don't know any better. They cause us to go astray. You know, it says, verse 16, for the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Right? I believe chapter 56. Isaiah 56 and verse 10. It says, Isaiah 56:10, his watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Right? Let's talk about our leaders again. It says, yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his gain, for his quarter. Right? So that's talking about our leaders, man. Those are the current husbandmen. I mean, Salakia, those are the husbandmen in this parable. Let's go back to the parable. We're gonna read verse 9 again. Luke 20:9 said, then he spake to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard. What? All right, hold on. It says, then began he to speak to this people. Salakia. Then began he to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard and led it forth to husbandmen, right? And went into a far country for a long time. And at the season he sent a servant to the husbandman. So who is the servant? Who are the servant? The servant are the true prophets. The servants are the true followers of the Lord. Let's get a precept on that. We'll go to the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 7. It says, surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Right? So that's plain as day, plain upon tables. The Lord's servants are his prophets, right? Back to the parable. It says, and at the season he sent the servant to the husbandman, that they should give him of the fruit of the vineyard, but the husbandman beat him and sent him away empty, man. So it said he sent the servant to the husbandman. He sent his prophets out there, so they should reap that righteous fruit. But they beat him. They beat up the servant. Because why? They hated him that rebuketh in the gate. So like, yeah, let's go to that. Let's go back to the book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 10. Because the Lord was sending his prophets out there to bring in that righteous fruit, man, to try to get the people to turn their ways, from being wicked. He sent them out there to basically to reprove the people. But what? They didn't like that. They chose instead of listening to the righteous counsel of the Lord. They despised him. Because he was there getting on them. It says they hate him. This Amos 5 and 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. Right. So they hate the prophets that rebuke in the gate. Let's get a precept on that. Let's go to the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 24 and verse 20. It says, and the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah. So like, yeah, let me start at verse 19. It says, yet he sent prophets to them to bring them again unto the Lord. And they testified against them, but they would not give ear. And the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, thus saith God, why transgress ye the commandments of the Lord? So this is what the prophets, every time the prophets came upon the scene, they was getting on the people, they was getting on the other nations. They was bringing the word of the Lord, telling the people to follow the Lord instead of following the ways of men. Follow the Lord instead of following, false idols and all of those, man. Keep the commandments. That's what they was doing. So it says, and the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, thus saith God, why transgress ye the commandments of Yahweh, that ye cannot prosper, because ye have forsaken Yahweh, he have also forsaken you. And they conspired against him, and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king in the court of the house of the Lord. So, hey, they stoned him with stones, man. All he was doing was bringing the word of the Lord, and they stoned that brother with stones. Let's go back to the book of Luke. Right? right? This is Luke chapter 20 and verse 10. It says, at the season he sent the servant to the husbandman that they should give him of the fruit of the vineyard, but the husbandman beat him and sent him away empty, right? And again he sent another servant, and they beat him also, and entreated him shamefully, and sent him away empty, right? Hey, they was getting down on the prophets, man. Every time the Lord sent a prophet or raised a prophet up, hey, the people would kind of rebel against them and kind of treat them ill. They kind of rebel against them and treat them ill, man. Let me get another precept. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, Now Pashur, the son of Emer the priest, who was also chief governor in the house of Yahweh, heard that Jeremiah prophesied these things. So Jeremiah, he was out there. Hey, Most High was raising Jeremiah up early in the morning, telling him to go down to the king's court and telling him to rebuke all the people for all their wicked doings, and say that, all of them is going to go into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. And the Lord was telling Jeremiah that, and they didn't like that, man. It says, verse 2, Jeremiah 20 and 2, Then Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet and put him in the stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was by the house of Yahweh. And it came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks, then said unto him, The Lord have not called thy name Pashur, but Margot Misabib, right? So hey, they was getting on all the prophets, man. Every prophet that the Lord sent, they was kind of getting on them. Hey, cause we wicked, man. We love darkness rather than light. Let me grab a precept real quick. It's Jeremiah chapter. I mean, not Jeremiah. This is John chapter 3 and verse 19. It says, and this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. So let me get that's why they was steady getting down on the prophet so wickedly, man, because they love darkness rather than light, man. So back to Luke chapter 20 and verse 12. It says, And again he sent the third, and they wounded him also, and cast him out. So hey, they was doing this to every servant that the Lord sent. They was wounding him, killing them, casting them out, treating them ill, acting like the Lord ain't send them. Verse 13, Then said the Lord of the vineyard, What shall I do? I will send my beloved son. It may be they will reverence him when they see him. So, hey, that's when the Lord was like, Hey, I'm gonna send my own son. I'm gonna send my own son. That's when he sent Yahweh Shai, man. That's how we get the verse John 3:16. That's how we get this verse right here. It says, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Hey, so that's how we get that verse, man, because the Lord sent his son, to save the people, man. But what, they treated his son the same way. Let's go back to that. This is Luke 20, and I'm going to read 13 again. Then said the Lord of the vineyard, What shall I do? I will send my beloved son. It may be they will reverence him when they see him. But when the husbandmen saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, that the inheritance may be ours. So hey, they was covetous. They was covetous of their inheritance, man. Even though they knew Yahweh Shai was the heir, it was like, Hey, let's kill him, that the inheritance may be ours. And you see that in the book. And you see that in the book of John. This is the book of John, chapter 11, and verse 47. It says, Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council, and said, What do we? For this man doeth many miracles. Right? So they was gathering together. They was like, Man, this brother doing too many miracles. He's drawing the people to him. The people ain't really looking to us for no wisdom no more. They looking to this brother. So we kind of getting put on the back burner, and they ain't like that. It says, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. So they was worried about the Romans taking away their rank. You know, the Pharisees, they was worried about their rank, man. They was the men that like Yahushua was saying, they brought in their phylacteries. You know, they walking in wearing the flyest garment, just trying to get looked at. You know, but inside, you know, they was like dead bones, man. You know, they ain't had no wisdom. They wasn't really keeping the commandments to the best of their ability and all that, man. You know, they just like to be looked at. It says, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest, that same year said unto them, you know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. Then from that day forth they took counsel to put him to death. You know, so they was taking counsel to put Yahushua to death, man. You know, this is what this parable is speaking about. This is what this parable is speaking about. So let's go back to the parable. Going back to verse 14, it says, but when the husbandmen saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, that the inheritance may be ours. So they cast him out of the vineyard and killed him. What therefore shall the Lord of the vineyard do unto them? Hey, so they killed Yahushua, man. You know, they killed him. Hey, this is the nation that kills the prophets. Let's go to that. This is the book of Matthew chapter 23. And I think I'm going to start at 37, 34. I'm going to start at 30. It says, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. So they be trying to say, you know, if we was back there with our fathers, we wouldn't have partook in killing the prophets. But Yahushua said this. It says, wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves, that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets, and wise men, and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city. Right? It says that upon you're welcome. That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Berechias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. You know, so they was always slaying the prophets, man, all the way from Abel to the son of Zacharias, man. To the Zacharias, the son of Berechiah, man. You know, and these things were still happening. These things were still happening even after Yahushua died. Let's get a precept on that. We're going to go to the book of Salakia. We're going to go to the book of, what is that I want? Let's go to Acts. Let's go to Acts. Is that 12 that I want? Salakia, no. Acts chapter 5, Salakia. Let's go to Acts chapter 5 and verse 39, right? It's Acts 5 and 39. It says, but if it be of God, you cannot overthrow it, lest happily you be found even to fight against the Most High. And to him they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushua, and let them go. So they was beating the apostles, man. They was beating the apostles. Let's go 2 chapters over, speaking about Stephen. You know, hey, they killed Stephen. You know, because Stephen was getting on them. Let's go to Acts chapter 7. And we gonna go down to where they stoned Stephen, man. So like it says, this Acts 7:54, when they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. But he, being full of the Holy Spirit, looked steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai standing on the right hand of the Most High. And behold, behold, I see the heavens opened, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of God. Then they cried out with a loud voice, and stopped their ears, and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city, and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at a young man's feet, whose name was Saul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon God, and saying, Lord Yahweh shall receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. Hey, so they killed Stephen, man. They killed Stephen. So let's go back to the parable so we can finish it up. This is Luke chapter 20 and verse 16. It says, he shall come and destroy these husbandmen, and shall give the vineyard to others. And when they heard it, they said, God forbid. So he said he was gonna give the vineyard to the others, man. You know. So like it, let me get a precept. This is Isaiah, I believe, 30 and is it 20? It says this Isaiah 30 and 20. It says, and though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, right? And the Lord said he was gonna give pastors according to his heart. This is Jeremiah 3 and 15. It says, and I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. You know, so hey, those are the true rulers that the Lord is going to give. You know, that the Lord gave. You know, we seeing it in these days. You know, the righteous men, they standing up, they teaching the truth. You know, you still got a couple wicked brothers out there, but you know, the Lord gave us pastors according to his heart, you know, that are guiding the flock, that are leading the nation and leading us back to righteousness in these last days. You know. So I want to touch on this little thing, since we was going into how the prophets were being persecuted and killed, you know, and all that is gonna come to pass again. You know, we still gonna have to go through these things. You know, starting off with Isaiah, this is all from a book called Salakia. This is all from a book called The Lives of the Prophets, right? So scrolling down to how Isaiah died, this is how they killed Isaiah. It says, following the tradition found in the Jewish sections of the apocryphal extension of Isaiah, the text reports that this prophet was killed by being sawed in two under the evil king Manasseh of Judah. So hey, they sawed Isaiah in half, man. You know, what about Jeremiah? Having escaped the deaths several times previously, Jeremiah was later stoned to death by his people at Taphanai in Egypt and buried in honor near Pharaoh's palace. So Jeremiah was stoned to death. You know, Ezekiel. It says this great prophet is said to have died in Babylonia, where the leader of the Israelite exiles killed him after being reproved for worshiping of idols. You know, so hey, they was killing the prophets, man. It's gonna come to pass where they gonna start killing the prophets again. You know, let me grab a precept on that. Grab a quick precept. First, I'm gonna go right here. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and Salakia. Ecclesiastes. Is this what I want? Salakia, it might be 3. Ecclesiastes 3:15. It says, that which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and God requireth that which is past. So if the Most High requires that which is past, hey, that same persecution is going to come about, man. You know, that same persecution that the apostles had to go through, that the prophets had to go through, hey, we're going to have to go through that same thing. And we see it talked about in the book of Revelation. You know, let's go to Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, and when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of... I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. Right? Let's go to Revelation 20 and 4. I'm going to get one more and close out. Revelation 20 and 4. It says, and I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they had lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. Right, so it said the souls of them that were beheaded, and they're gonna be bringing back the guillotine, man, the gallows, and all of that, man. You know the damn where you gotta stand up before the wall, and they got 4 people lined up to shoot you, man. You know they finna be doing all these kill tactics, man. All these killing mechanisms, killing mechanisms. You know, to slay the prophets, man, in these last days. So with that, I want to be in Israel, a hearty shalom. Lord willing, you was edified, man. And Lord willing, I could come back with more lessons and more breakdowns on these parables. So with that, shalom.